Hey, it's Nitya with Karma Chameleon. This is the channel for all things feng shui, flying stars feng shui, BaZi Chinese astrology, and often I read the charts of famous people to better understand our own charts and our own lives. Welcome. Today is a big one. I'm going to share a big story with you. Love Beyonce and really find her and Jay Z to be such an interesting power couple, as they are often referred to. And she just speaks of royalty to me. I mean, the way that she performs and carries herself in her life is just such elegance and radiance. And I was curious about their charts, and wow. I have to start with Jay Z. So he's born, actually my daughter's birthday, December 4th, but it's 1969, and at the hour of 10 minutes, which is obviously after midnight by 10 minutes. So it's 0010. Love that. It's kind of a cool way to have time, you know. And so he's born, pay really close attention to this, the year of Yin Earth Rooster, the month of Yin Wood Pig, the day of Yin Water Ox, the hour of Yang Water Rat. So you might have noticed that I mentioned water. So his hour is double water, Yang Water Rat, Rat is Yin Water. His day master, he is a Yin Water person. His month, the pig, is Yang Water with Yang Wood. To be precise, each of the elements represents, or each of the placements, stem and branch, represent 12.5%. So like for rat is only yin water, so that's 12.5%, whereas the pig is yang water with yang wood, 8.75% water, 3.75% wood. One of these days, maybe I'll get into the technical side of BaZi Chinese astrology, but much like feng shui, it is a beastly onion that even with all these years of study and research and training, there's always more to learn, which is fun. I would never want to reach the top of knowing everything. Anyway, plus each chart that you do, sometimes I feel like you're learning something more as well. So let's break down what this is. And I find it interesting that this man is a singer and a manager. He is his own industry, just as his wife is. And that speaks of fire, which is his enemy. Why is it his enemy? Well, he, as a water person, is over 60% himself. There is a small amount of metal at about 11% nourishing that, and 22% wood, giving him a source of outlet, an outlet for his creativity and his being active and productive in life. There's no fire, which is good. Though interestingly, money and his wife traditionally sit in that element. Earth is balanced at 17%, which is career. Now, why do I say fire is the enemy? So in order to have a true follow chart, you have to have a full trio in the element that is dominant, and you've got to have no opposite element. So the opposite of water is fire. There's no fire. And the full water trio is the pig, the rat, and the ox. That is a special chart. the likelihood of all of those components coming together is pretty slim. Nourishing that is a semi-metal trio of the Rooster and the Ox. This is a follow self dominant water chart, and that's pretty special. Now in this, there's the interesting piece of his hour being so just dominant water. And this speaks to the fact that his children show up as being direct reflections of himself. He is buddies with his children. And for his career, the rat really speaks of somebody who, puts on different personas. Businessman, rapper, this, that. The rat is all about accumulation of money and wealth. It is somebody that likes to collect things. Like, for instance, if you were collecting art. And then it's also about rallying people together. And I mentioned this in my last video about Greta Thunberg, that the impetus of his career is not about making money. It's not about power. It's not about fame. It is about expressing himself in a way that rallies people together. And that's, it's like how to build the crowd, to create that audience. That is his motivating factor. And now let's then hold that and jump over to his year, which is the Rooster. And interestingly enough, Beyonce is also born in the year of the Rooster, though they are 12 years apart. He's 12 years older than she is. And his Rooster is kind of like the overarching megaphone that gives him style. Guy's got style. That he has flair. He has this overarching command of the room, like a rooster does. And definitely needs to be seen and heard, and has something to say. We jump back to his career, where he finds his audience. Now we come to his day master, which is the same as mine, a yin water ox. This is somebody who is incredibly hardworking. His work ethic is really like literally the cow that is leading this whole happy parade along. This is somebody that doesn't know stop, that works tirelessly, don't have to worry about burnout with over 60% of his own element. He is empowered. And he has the backing. He has enough metal, especially with a semi-metal trio. There's like that reinforcement. And this is really important. So in that, his chart is very simple. Even though it's a complicated, very unique chart, it's simple in how his animals play out in his life so exactly. Now, interesting that both he and Beyonce, when you look at their marriage, they both are looking for the challenge. And I've mentioned this also is true with me and my boyfriend, that sometimes what we seek is karma. These are relationships in which they crack each other open, butting heads. It's, I would imagine, not an easy relationship. Rooted in his ox with his marriage is a friendship and a partnership, an equality that he feels for her, with her. And there is also for him a spiritual connection in which the two, what he wants from her, kind of at the root of it all, is a mentor, an advisor, someone who guides him in life. And it could even speak to his spiritual, person. Yeah, and across time and space and lifetimes, here she is. And soulmate, that's the word I was thinking of. So, very interesting chart. Interesting. This guy who feels bigger than life. What a presence. So cool. These are two people I'd love to sit down and have a martini with. His chart is too yin and too wet. His life pillar kind of throws a little bit of a wrench in this whole dynamic of being a follow self chart, because it's a yang metal horse, and horse is yin fire. So it's a player that almost has that caution. And his life speaks of the mother, the goddess, being very important to him. His relationship to his mother. It also speaks of things having to do with law, things having to do with finances, government, things like that. It also speaks, the horse especially directly is speaking of the father. So this is somebody who is very, very impacted by his relationship with his parents, and also, again, the concept of the god and the goddess, the king and the queen on the throne. Is that crazy? Because that's how I see these two. Like the king and queen of hip hop rap, right? And wow, that's kind of cray-cray. Within that is infidelity, which has happened. And this challenge that speaks to his career, not an easy path. It's going to require all of that momentum and hard work of an ox to pull it through, for the rat to rally the audience. So all of these things, very interesting. So I wanted to look at his current luck cycle. This is from ages 51 to 60. Is a yin metal snake, and the snake is bringing in yang fire. And actually the next 20 years are bringing in fire. The next luck cycle that starts in 2031 from ages 61 to 70 is mirroring his life pillar, which means that in those 10 years, he's going to have the opportunity to live out in exactitude his life. The life lessons that he came here to learn. And it is very much wrapped around his parents. So if his parents are still alive, it usually signals a time of their passing or something really impactful happening to them. All right, so let's back up to his current luck cycle. The yin metal speaks of backing. It also speaks of somebody that not only has backing, but has an opportunity, I should say, to really tap into his spiritual journey, connection to God, to the universe, to his guides and guardians. If he has the wisdom to sit in meditation, prayer, however that works out, that this is a time where his guidance is, his connection to his guides and guardians and angels is very there. And that's a beautiful thing. Also, the snake is speaking of money, 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 and his wife. So Beyonce is a big centerpiece of this time. Money, property, his health, all there. His mother is mentioned. Again, I don't know if she's still alive, but that could signal something happening with her. Could also signal something happening with the law. I'm sure there's lots of things when you have that much money that you are constantly signing contracts or dealing with law, I don't know if there's lawsuits, but all kinds of legal things. And there's also mention of family, his daughter. Kind of at the root of all that's happening in his life, it feels like there is that crux of family life, just the richness of life. And in some ways, this feels like almost like the time of his life, and what does come next. I think that his career is going to continue well into the future. I'll just leave it at that. All right, so we've got to give airtime to Beyonce, our queen here. September 4th, her birthday is coming up, 1981 at 10 o'clock in the morning. We're going to cycle that back an hour for daylight savings time. And she is born Yin Metal Rooster. That's her year. Month of Yang Fire Monkey. Day of Yin Wood Rooster. 2 roosters. Yes, you heard that right. And her hour is Yin Metal Snake. That's where the sexy comes in. Yeah. So that element of her having the snake hour gives her that sensuality, right? And the rooster in her day, that's where you get the queen. Yin metal is all things sparkly. It is like glitter. It literally is glitter. Yin metal is also, everything that shines. Everything that shines. Beautiful jewels. It is a jewel. She is a jewel. There we have it. Double rooster, my friends. My gracious. So, double rooster. This is somebody who is so here to flash her fabulous fashion, her style, and to be heard. What a voice, right? And again, she and Jay Z have a dynamic relationship that challenges each other. They have the ability to really cut each other down or rise up to the challenge. Because like I've said before, 2 people that are butting heads and are opposite can break open something beautiful. It can also be damaging. And we always want to have healthy boundaries with ourselves. We want to honor ourselves always. And just because let's say, for instance, this were your chart, I would caution you to really evaluate your relationship, your romantic relationship, and make sure that it is honoring your highest good, that you are benefiting from that relationship, even if it is a challenge. For her, the snake brings in this quality in her life that is very much about being a revolutionary, breaking norms, using her smarts, her intellect, and her intuition to navigate her industry and her career. So there's a savvy here. But there's also boots is made for walking, kick-ass kind of attitude here. She brings in the qualities of her husband is part of her work. I'm sure they've worked together on projects. There is money to be made. There is, represents her work in all its dynamic, changeable ways. This is her work. Now, unlike Jay Z, whose motivation, it would seem, for his work is to rally the masses so that he can be heard and his message can be heard. For her, it is very much about being a woman who is changing her career, changing the dynamic maybe of her industry. Maybe she's got something specific to say that changes the way that people see women of color singing, right? I don't know. That's her story. We'd have to ask her what it is, what that thing is that she is revolutionizing, right? What is her rebellion? And there is this family husband component in here. I think Blue Ivy's recently been on stage singing, which is cool. And so there's all these pieces. The thing that's also interesting about these two, they both are leaders, innate leaders. They don't want to be told what to do. They are the god and the goddess, the king and the queen. And I'm sorry, I already know the way it goes. So don't even try to tell me. And that's interesting for two people to be married with that, because they have to know how to make room. Who gets to be the bigger voice in the room sometimes, and who gets to, you're gonna have to take turns with this to make it work. They're very independent, very hardworking, good work ethic, but these are people really that stay in their lane and don't want to be told what to do. So in her chart, she's got the monkey and the rooster making a semi-metal trio. Then with her current luck cycle, the snake, rooster, and her luck cycle of the ox is making a full metal trio. And her chart is slightly too yin, and it's also too cold. Now, not wet. She hardly has any water, but she is over 70% metal. Now, the opposite of metal is wood, which is her own element. You can't not have your own element. So this does not qualify as a dominant metal chart or a follow power chart. It is a fake follow power chart. This is a woman who is dominated by her man and her career. She has a tiny bit of water nourishing her tiny bit of wood, 3% water, 10% wood, 17% fire, 4% earth. I mean, she really is almost entirely metal. And her life pillar is the dragon, which brings in this other aspect of really powerful leader, dynamic, enigmatic, magical. And her life of yang water is speaking also, like Jay Z, of the mother, and of money, of wealth, of property, of good health, of herself, her sisters, her mother. I mean, I know that they're a tight-knit family, and also a spiritual quality to her. And again, I keep coming back to the goddess, right? Her current luck cycle started last year, is yin metal ox. And this is bringing in that yin metal is really saying that it is time to change things up, challenge herself anew in her career, maybe take on some new projects. And it's speaking of her father, it's speaking of father figures, and extra money coming in from all kinds of different things. Like, for instance, if she had a perfume line that she started or something. It also speaks of backing, of influence, and with that also this call for living a more spiritual life. Very interesting. You know, for her, her own element is the enemy in her chart, which I find like, wow. What both of them, when you have a chart that is that dominant, the best thing is to either have that, the parent element or the child element, that which nurtures the element or that which helps to motivate it to be active. Yeah, so it's very interesting, these two being together and how they make it work. But I think part of it is if they are able to recognize they both are sitting on the throne, they can sit side by side and both be leaders in their own right, in their own industry, and make it work. Good on them for that. Anyway, I just thought that was super fascinating. These charts are so imbalanced, and for him that works. Because hers doesn't qualify, I would wonder if for her the burnout doesn't become pretty real. And so for her chart, she needs water, because the water is what nourishes her wood self. And where does she get that? From her partner. And so this is an interesting thing, if I haven't mentioned this before, is in a family dynamic, as long as you're all living together, if you are weak in an element and your child or your partner has that element more strongly and in a way that you can benefit from that, and also obviously them with you. And it's not uncommon to see a couple come together in which the element that they most need, they get from their partner. And it's one of the things that helps to cement the two together, right? So in my chart, I am very big fire. As a water person, I'm a most dominant fire. And my boyfriend and my own element water is weak. And my boyfriend has very strong water as his day element, also is yin water. And he does not have strong fire. So in that, we benefit from each other. There's all these different layers of how we relate to one another. That's so interesting. I'm going to leave it here. I like to try to keep these under 30 minutes because I know everybody's attention span is a hot second. But thank you. If there are other charts you're interested in me reading, let me know. And until next time, be well.